it should be in to be an entrepreneur, to take your own risk. This is something that at least Europe has entirely forgotten. We have to keep that in mind, and we are at the edge, down, on the way down, and this is something which is very, very dangerous. Something that also puts our values at risk is a trend to uniformity and social engineering. Actually, in fact, when the Mont Pelerin Society gathered for the first time on April 1st, 1947, they declared in their statement of aims, the central values of civilization are in danger. And by then they describe what were those values and what especially endangered them. And it was by then the threat of communism and the threat of National Socialism and socialism. And then they wrote the following. The group holds that these developments have been fostered by the growth of a view of history which denies all absolute moral standards and by the growth of theories which question the desirability of the rule of law. So this statement of aims was adopted on April the 8th in 1947 by those founding fathers of the Mont Pelerin Society. And if we are looking at that, I mean, we simply have actually the same challenge right now, a couple of decades later. So what has changed? And we are definitely on the way to serfdom, on the road to serfdom again. So this is why I would like to put a couple of practical things here again, and because we need to face reality. We can't live in an academic ivory tower and pretend that the world is not turning around. So we do have the choice between imperfect markets and imperfect governments. What would you choose? Well, not a question here in this auditorium. Markets are the ultimate test of character. This is something that we need to keep in mind. And that success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. Another thing that is definitely not taught at schools, or at least not in some families. I would like to present you with a couple of German figures, since Germany currently is the so-called role model, the economic role model for new growth and for the country who has gotten out of the crisis in Europe as one of the first ones. I have to tell you the truth, this is just simply not the fact. Because we need, as economists, we need to face the figures. And if we look at the figures, it's alarming. They have the German debt is 1.7 trillion. The annual expenses of this government is 327 billion. The income by taxes is 214 billion. This is the current figures and numbers on their current budget, 20. So they do have other income, and all in all, the income is 241. So again, the expenses is 327, the income is 241. Under the circumstances given, this is insane. So there is a difference of 86 billion, plus all the debt that they have. It's incredible. They pay 41 billion just for interest rates each year. Can you see this imbalance? And it's Germany that is considered to be a successful economy, a successful, well, individual economy maybe. There are still some entrepreneurs around who pay for this craziness, but the national debt is just incredible. Austria, we are well off. We only have 11 billion of debt to pay annually, which would be the budget of education and innovation and universities. Just to give you an example and to compare this. So why are we in this situation? Well, we've had those welfare states. 60 years, 70 years of socialism, of redistribution. I don't have to tell you about that. But the problem is the welfare state undermines, corrupts, demoralizes the individual because uh, it's minimum income is guaranteed, work-free income is guaranteed, transfers that the taxpayer, that those people who achieve, pay. There are wrong incentives, and we do face a demographic problem. So altogether, these are threats and challenges to our system. I don't want to close that negative. On the other hand, we do have a whole bunch of chances. If we, for example, look at the Tea Party movement that is going on in the United States, these are things that we should adopt, not only maybe here in your beautiful country, but also we will definitely do it in Austria and in Germany. We have started with our think tanks, Tea Party movements, slowly but surely. We don't come in from the Hayekian perspective, elite, top down. This time we come from the grassroots, bottom up. We need to do this. We need to put those things into practice. So I'm positive we will solve the problems, and those old threats in a new disguise that are coming up, the socialism bumping up again, will be defeated because people, after all, are still rational, and you just can't spend money that you don't have. I may quote Lady Thatcher here, the problem with socialism is eventually that you run out of other people's money. And I think this is something that sooner or later our politicians will find out, because they cannot print forever, and that the facts, the arguments, our ideas are the better ones. So I'm positive with regards to the moral foundations and with the values that we defend, this individual freedom that we all know once it's at stake, that we stand up and fight for it. And I'm positive we will find solutions. I would have a couple of other quotes like Mises, and coming back then to Thomas Jefferson, which I would just close with. Of liberty, I would say that in the whole plentitude of its extent, it is unobstructed action according to our will. But rightful liberty is unobstructed action according to our will within limits drawn around as by the equal rights of others. I do not add within the limits of the law, because law is often by the tyrant's will, and always so when it violates the right of an individual. Thank you.